As the computer has advanced from the simplicity of the abacus to the modern machine of today, there has become an ever-increasing need for copy protection.
Yeah, computers were only meant for numbers, but now that purpose can be done on a pocket calculator. Well, guys, why don't we show the audience what we know about copy protection? Copy protection. Anything that prevents the user from making a copy of a program or information. Copy protection evolved from people trying to copy programs illegally. People are actually copying programs and selling them to gain money off of somebody else's work. This also means the author of the program loses money because of somebody else's dishonesty.
There are three types of popular copy protection. One, reading off a decoder wheel. Two, reading out of a manual. And three, changing the program itself to not copy.
On some programs that are copy protected, after you have pirated a copy and then loaded up, instead of seeing the program you copied, you'll see some form of message rather than the program you thought you had. To explain how this happens, let us remember that when you are copying a program and the computer comes across information it doesn't recognize, it skips over it, doesn't copy it, and considers it an error.
Knowing this, someone who wants to copy protect the program will insert some information in a non-standard format.
Therefore, the program, after it's copied, will no longer function as the original one would, and it also may display some form of message. The program on your screen now, when loaded, results in this scrolling screen. It hopes to deter the copier from trying to copy again in the future, and also gives him or her information regarding piracy.
Some programmers have learned to get around this by experimenting with the disk, trying to find what and where the information is.
Then, when they have found it, all they need to do is enter the missing information onto the disk. There are also available on the market copy programs which will help you break through those detours on the disk.
From the most generic to the most sophisticated, hackers and pirators are copying software everywhere.
Another type of computer crime is hacking via modem. A modem is a device that allows you to communicate with other computers using your computer.
The modem makes beeping noises, which the computer understands.
By using a modem, programmers and even kids are breaking into BBSs illegally.
BBS is short for Bulletin Board System. Some are public and some are private.
Some government BBSs offer valuable software.
This software ranges in price from $100,000 to $250,000, or sometimes even more.
When these are taken and copied, the person is illegally copying the software. Another privacy invasion is now happening is someone inserting a virus into a network or BBS, or even just a program.
When a virus is inserted, they can do a number of things, which include sabotaging files and putting systems to a stop.
When stopped, these programs, networks, or systems are vulnerable to attack by anyone that wants to.
A current happening now is something called the worm. It slows down or stops systems altogether.
We'll talk more about this later. Now let's look into how the law is dealing with computer crime.
Congress decided to take action against computer crime and proclaimed a law in 1984.
This law makes it a federal crime to take anything valuable by use of a computer.
This meant anything, including programs like we talked about earlier.
This would also prevent people from taking things through the use of a modem.
For instance, say somebody with a modem called some BBS and illegally copied software. He would at least spend a year in jail and pay up to twice the amount stolen.
The FBI now has gotten involved and is training agents to stop and or deal with computer criminals.
Thanks to these actions, we hope to have less crime by using computers in the future.
Another thing to add is that illegally breaking into anything is invading somebody's privacy, which is a serious crime in itself.
Recently, a man named Robert T. Morse inserted a virus into a computer system. It was called the worm.
Because of this, he was looking at a fine of $250,000 and 5 years in prison.
The worm caused millions of dollars in damage of traveling across the United States.
This took place in less than 3 hours.
After it was released, Robert Morse Jr. did not know how and could not control the worm.
Now, even kids are getting involved with computer crimes.
Robert Morse Jr. did not receive any prison time, but only a small fine with some community service.
This is very little to pay for all the damage his virus was responsible for.
Hacking problems are getting worse because hackers aren't getting penalized severely enough.
If the government doesn't get more involved, we believe this issue could lead to the banning of public use of computers.
I hope you've enjoyed this brief introduction to the fascinating world of computers.